Boom. What is going on, guys? Welcome on into the video. Welcome on into the stream today as we close out Power Hour here. Monday, what is today? March 28th, 2022. All right, so I'm looking at Coinbase actually right now. I have just a small little trade that I'm looking to get out of those options in a second here. It should hit if it pops a little bit higher. You know, market's actually ripping here a little bit into the close. We've gone green. Bitcoin hit up over 48, or it's teasing 48,000 right now. It's just right there, so I should get filled here any second on that, but I'm not really too worried. It's a pretty small position, so it's a little scalp type of day trade idea for the breakout over the highs right here, which I generally don't like to play breakouts, but I actually front ran the position by getting in slightly before the breakout, anticipating the breakout. So I got in and I was going to risk these wicks down to $200 and 50 cents. And I was looking for this extension, which we got. And, so far, we'll see if we can keep going for more. It looks like the market's pretty strong. Bitcoin up around 48,000. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bit of a push to maybe 205 on Coinbase by the end of the day. If the market stays this strong, we'll see how it finishes up though. So that's all. That's what I did there. You know, you always hear people talk about, you got to trade this way, you got to trade that way. And it's like, to me, it's like, well, if this thing popped, I was going to miss the trade as it is. So I'm like, well, I'd rather get in now, risk these lows, these wicks right here of the past hour, and then look for the extension breakout, which we got. So that was really all it was. Nothing crazy there, but that's that. I want to dive into a bunch of stuff. We're talking about some of the meme stocks. AMC having a big day, up 30+% today, guys. I mean, that's pretty nuts. So it seems like a lot of stuff is kind of bouncing back. AMC, Tesla's not a meme, but Tesla's doing really, really well, announcing that they're planning on potentially doing another split. They're going to be asking shareholders again in an upcoming meeting. So that's going on there. We got to talk about AMC, and we'll dive into this guy. AMC just hit a new high of the day as I speak. Popped up here at about 26.50, pulled back down, VWAP held, and then has been grinding the entirety of the afternoon so far into the close here. We're about an hour left, and AMC is pushing up, teasing $27. Now, here's the chart. So it was right around this spot. It had struggled to break out twice over this 2069 or 2070 level that we're looking at. Prior resistance, and then eventually it popped through, and boom, there it goes. It really, really popped through. So right now you're kind of in between. You're in the middle of a spot that I would have no interest in playing it long or short or whatever, other than a day trade type of play, off of, a trend or off of a breakdown or breakout. But right now, you're looking at up into the 30 range will be your next more significant area to watch as a take profit zone or resistance zone. So I'm up towards $30, $31. That was this area right here. So we'll watch that. That was also the prior support back here throughout looks like the summer of 2021, late summer. So that's what I'm watching, at least on AMC. Not really, to be honest, for me, it's not a huge interest. It's great to see like some meme stocks moving, and it can bring some more volume and get some more excitement back into the market, which I love to see. So overall, it's a good thing, but it's not like I'm super interested in playing that. It's a crowded stock, and then I tend to stay away from crowded stuff, especially nowadays. I'm not a big fan of playing the same stocks that everybody else is at. It's going to have tons of volume, and you can play it off of emotion psychology and stuff like that, but the option premiums are jacked up. It's like, you can't short it on certain platforms. So it's like, is it really worth trying to force something? At least to me, no. HYMC is a mining company. AMC owns like over 20% of this company, which is why it's running, I believe, in tandem with AMC. So it's kind of a sympathy play. So HYMC is a sympathy play. Also, this will correlate to gold. So if we start seeing gold pushing up, this will do well. But also, I think AMC, at least today, is the bigger mover. Also, the AMC CEO talking about that investment and whatnot, and it's kind of pumping it up. So, you kind of get a little bit of that, and that's what you're kind of seeing off of that. And it's a lower float stock. It's a smaller, price stock. So, a little bit of volume will go a long way, at least relatively speaking, compared to like AMC's trading volume. So that's why you're seeing this thing moving up. 240 right now is the high. HYMC hit up to 270-ish. Is going to be a resistance. It hit 272, got rejected. So each of these, it's kind of interesting. We haven't had a day where we finished over $2. So today looks like it should be the first day where we'll actually finish the day over $2 on HYMC. So that's something to be watching on this guy. At least it's something to note. So, is it an easy short because it's getting that squeeze out? No, because we haven't had a day like this. We can get continuation. I could definitely see that continuation coming in. We can even make a move up towards, like, let's say, $3.50 to $4 up into this consolidation up here. I wouldn't be surprised if momentum stays strong. I'm not betting on that, but I could see that happening. on HYMC. Big sell-off on cannabis today. Yes and no from last I just saw. Let's take a look at Tilray. Tilray down. Honestly, not as bad, though. It just finished really, really strong on Friday, I guess, right? But look at Tilray. It's just consolidating up here. It's, bouncing around between the mid to upper sevens and, mid to upper eights. So it's been in this dollar consolidation range, at least for now on Tilray. Certain other stocks did fall off more. ACB, Aurora Cannabis, down about 7%. Assisting fell off a good bit more. SNDL has SNDL. Yeah, it didn't really. It's same thing. They're kind of in these ranges. They haven't really moved too much up or down really. So I don't know. I'm kind of just like they're kind of just doing their own thing for now. It seems like. I'm not interested really either way on any of those names. As you guys, we talked about, I think yesterday was, the cannabis names, like, the reality in the Senate is that it's not going to go through. So the House may pass a bill. Who cares really at the end of the day? So that's and there are also a lot of these stocks are Canadian companies. So it's like, okay, realistically, can you run them on hype? Yes. Are they up enough for me to love them on the short side? No. Are they, at a spot where I like them long? Not really. So, they're kind of in between. So I'm not really a huge fan of playing them. In my view, there's not much of an edge right now until we get either a bigger dip or a bigger rip. Then you have a better edge in a direction on some of those names. So that's how I see that, at least for right now. Take a look at Coinbase again really quick. Yeah, Coinbase is kind of... Yeah, I thought I would see a little more of a pop here, man, honestly. What do I have a sell set for? I could probably bring that down a touch more. We'll see. Let's see. It's setting up, honestly, for another little pop to high of the day here. I could see that easily, and I'll get taken out. So I'm going to let that ride for a second on Coinbase. But yeah, Bitcoin names are doing pretty well. We'll take a look at Bitcoin here in a second, and looking across the crypto space. We looked at Nile. We talked about Nile, BitNile. You guys know I'm not a big fan of the company, and just in general, but doesn't mean it can't run, and I'm not going to short it against Bitcoin. I did actually wake up this morning and just grab a very small short, just because I wanted to get a feeler on it at like 110, and then I covered it at like $1. So I made whatever that was, 10%, roughly. But it wasn't in a big position. Honestly, I kind of like how it's been trending here and building higher lows throughout the day. This could be setting up. Honestly, I kind of like this look. If this trend holds on Nile, it's a good risk reward right here to the crack of that trend. So honestly, what is that risk? From where it's at to the trend line, you're looking at like a 1% risk. I mean, come on. Reward to VWAP is at least 2%. We can play that. Honestly, I kind of like it. It's been holding around and just kind of hanging out, and Bitcoin's looking pretty good. So I kind of like playing that long right now, if anything, basing off the trend. So let's just see what we can do here. Let's just grab 1,000 and let's take a shot. Let's see if I can get a decent entry at like 92.6. There it is. We're in. So I'll watch this for a stop underneath this trend line. It's just kind of a small little day trade, basically playing off the trend line. That's really it. Stop with a 5-minute close below the trend line, and first profit target probably up towards that VWAP area will be a good spot to take profits. I probably can put a little bit of a sell there, just a little bit quarter at a time. 250 at like 94.9. I'm gonna do 94.9. Let's do that. Let's go with that. All right, so that's that. What's Coinbase doing, man? It looks like it had this big move. These are kind of, I'm just gonna, let me just take this off. Just in case this turns against me, there's no need to be here and get screwed, right? On something like that. Should give it a second. It should fill 520, man. It should fill. If it doesn't fill at 520, it's like, come on. Yeah, but I can see this thing kind of cracking down and getting a retest. All right, so that filled. Coinbase filled. Made a few dollars on that, but now we're looking at Nile. Nile's only like other idea for a day trade that I kind of like, but even that, I'm not a huge fan of, overstaying a welcome on that play. So that's that. All right, brought the TMC dip. Let's take a look. Yeah, I mean, risk on approach is or the feel of risk on kind of makes sense. AMC. Bitcoin, like two decent indicators, meme stocks, two decent indicators of people feeling a little bit more comfortable and a little more, willing to play some stuff with a little more risk. Wow, TMC with that, like a pretty big drawdown right back into the lower ones, mid to lower ones here, which was decent support a few months back. Mullen, Yeah, Mullen, I'm going to talk about probably, well, I got to dive a little bit deeper into this after hours, but my thought was around the 2 area was a good long spot, as we talked about yesterday. And we got that off of earnings, I believe. They did an offering, if I'm not mistaken. So we got that today. I missed it at the time, wasn't paying attention, but we got down to 2, and then it bounced immediately right back, saying they had like $65 million in cash. I mean, you're talking about, again, it's the same type of thing, right? EV company, $65 million in cash. The market cap is 88 million. You know, you're talking about a stock that's trading almost like cash value. You know, so it's like that kind of popped us back up, and they had a good cash position. At least they felt like, it seems like. So, you know, got stuffed again right here at this exact same spot. 280 or so is not going to let us go through to the upside. It was a prior support, now resistance. So now you want to see Mullen breaking back over 280 with some momentum, and then there you go. Then you got a bigger move up. But yeah, that was a good sign that it held that 2 today in pre-market and bounced really, really strong off that level. So let's see how that 2 is your spot. It's your guide. $2 is your guide. When we come back down here, if we come back again this week, you know, see how it handles it. And if it can hold it, great. Or, you know, it's worth a possible shot at some shares with a risk, you know, below 2 is your stop loss. So yeah, SPY on its way up. Yeah, I mean, look at SPY. Here's the chart for SPY today. Here's the 5-minute chart. It was looking like, hey, you know, came back down, tested our 450 level beautifully, and then bounced perfectly. I didn't take anything there, but that would have been a good day trade idea, risking it versus 450. And now it's just, you know, 454 is where we're at right now. You know, I'm not looking to take any puts yet, but if we get, I don't think it's going to be today, but if tomorrow is green again, if we go green tomorrow, I think we've got a good shot potentially up towards that 458. We touch 458, I will be taking at least some puts. That's at least my plan. Noticing Any is starting to get some volume right here. Oh, wow, look at this thing. Any. ANY, this is another one of those crypto plays. Starting to get some volume off the lows right here. Any, you know, has been getting rejected at the 50 SMA every single time. Now it's trying to break above, and over 225 would be a great, you know, continuation over 225, which we're over now, will be a nice move up towards potentially $3. Could be a decent target to the upside on Any. I kind of like that. Alrighty. So what we got going on here? KOSS. Return of the memes, man. Look at this thing. Costs right off the 50 SMA. I mean, just right off $8, right off the 50 SMA. Some really nice setups, honestly. Neg was pushing up. Here's GME. Here's GME's chart. GameStop pushing up, broke over this 160 area of resistance, up into kind of this choppity chop zone that I'm not a big fan of really playing that. So, you know, honestly, it's like, it is, what's the risk reward now on these plays off their lows, right back up into, you know, significant zones of consolidation in the past, right? For GameStop, AMC, you know, risk reward is really not that much in your favor, at least in my opinion. We'll see though how it ends up shaping up. I added one more of XBI today. I added another. Well, I played it a couple of different ways. Well, I added in 2 different ways. So I bought a September call. So my plan was, as I said in Saturday's video, I was like, okay, well, the plan is here to give myself some more time on XBI. So I bought some more Labu, not XBI. I bought Labu calls. So I'm looking at XBI, saying to myself, you know what, any dips versus this level I like. So I'll start to kind of, you know, slowly enter in a position or enter in something else on top of my June. So I have a June position for Labu, but I wanted to get some September, just so I have some more time on my side in case things take a little bit longer to play out, which, you know, just so I have some more time. And I was looking in the September calls. Here they are. They were going for, right now the bid's at 270, asks at 295. I had a bid set to 270 like a couple hours ago, and it filled a couple hours ago. But these are going for 270 right now, roughly, on these Septembers, you know, and they were trading at Labu back in early February. Labu was up. Let's look at Labu. They were trading at like $7, okay, over $7, almost $8, back in early Feb, when Labu was up at like 23. So ideally, I'm targeting up around $30. The 30 just might take a little bit longer than I was originally expecting, which is fine. So that's why I wanted to go out to September. And we get 30, those 20s will be worth $10. So that'll be killer. And I'm looking to potentially add in a little bit more onto that position. But for right now, I added one. And so if we get further dips throughout the rest of the week on biotechs, then I'll be adding into that. But I kind of got, I got one to feel for it. And then I'm looking to add 1 to 2 more depending upon how this market plays out over the coming sessions and coming couple weeks is really the time frame of looking to enter into that guy ideally. So that's what I'm doing. I don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the meme stock community too, but it's a good gauge for how people are feeling, sentiment based, right? At least that's how at least I've seen it. I view it. So Coinbase came right back and it's kind of just bouncing. Yeah, I mean, Coinbase is setting up. Like look at Coinbase's daily chart, just kind of curling on up. As it gets up towards that 210 area, that's a spot that I think we can see some more resistance. 220, 225. 220 will be a really good spot for a possible take profit or even a short idea. So I'm not a huge fan of playing that really anymore, other than a little scalp day trade idea. Bubble WTI and FOSL. Let's take a look at WTI. Yeah, right down to the 200 SMA here. If it can hold around $4, it's not a bad spot. Last time it came to 200 SMA, it bounced immediately. Yeah. FOSL, Fossil Group. This is kind of like had this big pullback. Now it's kind of curling, and it's had a little bit of dip, a bigger dip earlier today. Now it's kind of being bought up into the close. I added a tiny bit more of ELYS. Now, so we see what I'm looking at right here is we did dip down to like 222. I don't like it under 230 really, but I want to see 2 consecutive daily closes under that level. There's not too much volume here, so I'm not like too worried about getting screwed if this is going to like just plummet, the floor's going to drop. I mean, realistically, yes. Could it drop more? Sure. Could they do an offering? Could they do something and screw me? Yes. But I'm not a huge fan of the price action, but I'm not going to be stupid because the last time it's come down to this spot, it's had one day and then it rebounds. So I'm going to give it 2. If we get 2 consecutive closes under 230, that's my stop, as I've said. Today we're at 229. We could get a close over 230 and it may even save it for today. But right around that 229 for right now. I added at 223, so I added a little more, but I have a really good average at 237 right now. So, I have a bid there at 221 in case we got it, but I'm not super worried. If I have to cut it off, I cut it off and I lose 10, 15 cents, 20 cents max on the trade, which is not that bad in terms of, since where my average is at. So I'm using this little opportunity to add a tiny bit more. And then the stop loss will be potentially put in place here if, this week, if we have 2 consecutive days under 230. That's it. That's at least how I see it on that guy. Sunworks, Sun W is just sitting right on that little spot right here. Look at this thing. If it holds this 250, man, I like that a lot. I like Sun W a lot. I have, what do I have? I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4 technically. Small caps. Nile is a short-term trade, so I guess I could add one more small cap. I don't want to go over 5 at a time. This chart looks really good in my opinion. It looks really good. So it's something to keep on your radar. 250 is the spot I want to see hold. 50 SMA is like right there as well. And also another one, this is a renewable play. So CHPT. Look at CHPT, by the way. It dipped right back down to that 1820-ish area. Now it's at 1870. It's up 1% today, but we had this idea yesterday on the stream. This would be a great stock, in my opinion, to buy, 100 shares, at least, depending upon your account size, if you can get it. 100 shares. I know it's like almost $2,000, but then just sell covered calls every week on this thing. Just sell covered calls against it every single week. I like that idea on this guy. So that's that versus 1750 as your area that you want to see it hold. It's been building higher lows. I like it. Wonder if Senate will legalize. ELYS gave earning guidance today. Oh, let's take a look. Seeking Alpha. What do we got going on with this guy? Okay, anticipates revenue growth of 22% for the fiscal year to approximately $45 million for the year. They did 37.3 for 2020. They expect web-based gross gaming revenue to increase by 74%. Yes. Okay. Okay, cool. Well, that's good. It's good that you mentioned this, so I can look it up and take a peek at it. What is this? Entry into B2B market has been very positive. Still small. Revenues in this segment have grown approximately to approximately 1 million for the fiscal year, improvement of approximately 627%. This, I believe, isn't this when they got set up in that DC location? I'm pretty sure they had their, I guess, software or whatever you want to call it, their platform installed into that, or integrated into that spot in DC. So it was like one location, which is why it's fairly small. But that's a good progress, and you want to see that continuing to grow. Selling expenses increased by 39%. General administration expenses have increased by 39% as well. Yeah, I mean, you kind of understand that's going with growth comes that too. This increase is a direct result of our entry into the U.S. market. Yes, increased expenses related to the acquisition and operation of the U.S. bookmakers. Okay, makes sense. Non-cash, 16 million. Okay, so here's the executive chairman says, we're very, very pleased with the growth of our European operations, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yes. Begin to realize their initial investment of our U.S.-facing sports betting technology with their first launch back in October. Yes, they launched that place in October 2021, so you're not going to see too much revenue from that, at least until the next couple of earnings reports, ideally. It's going to take some time for that to kind of, integrate and whatnot. Okay, so it's not bad. I mean, I don't see an issue, to be honest. We're seeing a growing company. Yeah, their expenses are going up as they're growing. So you're seeing a growing company. This is what at least it shows me. So I still like it. But I'm going to play the chart, though. I'm not going to be stupid and try to hold and hope and pray. I'm playing the chart. 2 closes under 230, and I'll step out for a small loss, and that's it. If I need to do it, whatever. It is what it is. I'm not going to just sit here and try to hope and pray. Maybe it eventually has a nice time, nice run, whatever. If I miss it, I miss it. I'll play something else. So like Sun W, right? Sunworks. Sun W. SUNW. I mean, this is a nice chart. Same thing. Looks pretty good to me under this, versus 250. Looks like a really good spot in my view for another trade. Volume's been elevated. So you had this little bounce off the bottoms, a nice run, pull back, volume's been elevated, and now, you possibly have room for another run up towards, $3.50, $4, dare we say? Potentially even more if we get a good run for small caps. So I like it. My guess, though, is... Are you a short trader? No, primarily long. But I'm not against shorting. But for the most part, as right now, this account and portfolio is bigger picture swings, is swings. On small caps, we have some biotechs, some large caps, and that's it. Not honestly too much large caps, but we have some pen out to 2023 options. So some airlines. Those are some larger caps, I guess. But to be honest, I find that shorting it depends on the market, it depends on the style, but I find that shorting is a little bit easier in terms of day trades. If you're going to try to day trade momentum plays, I find it's a little bit easier. The problem is that you need to have a broker that allows you to short. So that's the other thing you run into. So, you can't really do that on you can do that, I guess, with options, but you can't really just short shares on like a Robinhood or really Webull. You can, but it's limited in terms of certain stocks. So it's not the best. So that's what you run into on the short side with some of these things. But Senate, I have little faith the Senate will actually go ahead and pass a bill to legalize federally on any level cannabis. That's my guess. The thing is, there's so much other stuff in these bills. You have to understand too. It just sounds so simple on the surface. Like, oh yeah, makes sense. The state's bringing more tax revenue. Cool. Yeah, but then there's other stuff that they try to slip in, and it's like, well, now this guy doesn't like it, and this person doesn't like it, and then no one can kind of agree. And when no one can agree, we don't get anywhere. So that's the problem with these stupid bills, So yeah, sure, it makes sense, and you might think it could have a chance. Okay, Democrats in control has a chance, but I don't know. From what I've been reading and seeing, it seems unlikely. But then again, anything's possible, I guess. So you look at AMC, man, this thing is continuing to push high today. Look at this, 27 cents. It's actually honestly coming up into a spot that I kind of like. So up towards 30 bucks is where I would say, I like the risk reward on the short side on that. But the problem is, right? Okay, if you're going to do it just short shares, if you go to the option chain and go out to like let's go out like 3 weeks, right? Go out to, let's say, April 14th. So I guess like that's like 3 weeks out. And you got 30 puts. The 30 puts for that time are $6 or almost $7. So that means that AMC needs to be $23 by the 14th of April for you to just break even on those puts. Like, is that a great, price? Like, in my opinion, no. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you need to pull back right. It's just, the options are juiced up, too much that it's not really worth it, in my opinion. Upstart moving up. I want to take a look at that. I was actually looking at that earlier this morning. Micron having earnings tomorrow. That should be a volatile one. I was seeing some stuff about potentially some of the expectations of that. That should be volatile, I think. We'll see though. Man, yeah, I'm a short like about. I think to be honest, I'm telling you, on the short side, it's a lot easier to get a feel for things. It just depends. You got to be smart about it. If you're getting caught up in the add into a losing short, because it will come down eventually, you can get destroyed and absolutely blown up because, either hard to borrow rates or whatever, or just continuing to get blown out of a short squeeze play. So it depends. But yeah, I like that a lot more. And it's a good idea on the short side to keep in mind some of the recent runners. So like, for example, DATS, like watch DATS tomorrow, and if DATS gets weak, I don't think you can short it right now on Webull because there's probably no shares available. Let me just take a look and see if you can. If I can get like a 350, it's probably no shares. Yeah. So if you can get shares, let's say tomorrow on like a DATS, then yeah, maybe this thing starts to crack down and starts to pull back and has a nice down day tomorrow, under view up, sell off, kind of moving the pre-market into the open, yeah, there could be some good downside, but then you don't want to be caught in something like that's moving up, like HYMC today was kind of like one that was kind of pushing, and it never really had that pull. It never really pulled back that much, and so, right now it's looking a little weak, but it never really had that full-on just dump. So it kind of just like these things can burn you on the other side, right? If you just keep adding, eventually they can come down, but then it's like you look back to the left and say, well, you look at this thing, it's never closed over 2. Yeah, every time it popped, it's come back down hard in a very quick fashion right after, until it doesn't, So what's going on, Kyle? American Virtual Cloud Technologies, ABCT. That was moving last week nicely, right? ABCT, yeah, right. The 50 SMA, it's like down. It was down from like 80 or 90 cents up to about 103 today. Look at that, just spiking as we speak right now. Yeah, it was looking like it had a nice little pump, and then it gave a good chunk back, and now it's starting to kind of have its next day. Another thing to watch too, look at Cells. Cells is a good example of like the consolidation into the next leg. So Cells has a pop, right? Then what happens is 3 days later, right? 1, 2, 3. This thing is not dead, and then it has that next extension, which you got that move. So on these runners, like DATS, it could be a DATS play, or it could be even like a Poly or an NEGG. No, not Poly. NEGG, for example, could be a play. Like some of these stocks, like watch them over the coming days, right? Log them down, put them on a watch list, and then in 2-3 days, whichever ones have held up and are just consolidating, kind of building higher lows, could be setting up for that next kind of squeeze out phase, and you can get a nice little long trade on those plays a couple days later. So that's a good strategy. We've been working very, very well across a lot of stocks. But you gotta have them on your list. You got to pay attention, and you can't just jump around to a million stocks every day. You got to have a couple that you've been watching the past couple of days that have been doing pretty nice, and come back to them, and if they're setting up, and those are good risk rewards. Short AVCT. I wonder if you can even do it on Webull. You technically can, right? Hard to borrow rate is only 55%. It's not that bad, but I'm not gonna short it. To be honest, it doesn't look that bad. Oh, there, look at that, from 107 to $1. Boom, just got hammered down quick, or some profit taking or whatever. Seems like it was a little bit of a pump. I don't know what that was. Seems like it could have been a little bit of a pump. All right, what's Nile doing? Oh, we got to get out of this guy. quick hit that quick. We kept that trend has been cracked, and we got to get out. Ooh, 91. Small little L there, but yeah, it was worth a shot because Bitcoin was kind of pushing up, market was pushing up, and then just cracking that trend. Maybe it kind of holds this area. We'll see. Maybe it holds 90 cents and bounces from here. We'll see if it gets stopped. Whatever, it is what it is. We got a 5-minute candle close below that trend line, which we haven't seen all day. So something cracked down. I'm not going to try to stay around and hope and pray for that thing. So let it do its thing. AESC has been looking pretty good. It had a little bit of a pop this morning to 187. I'm still looking for $2 plus on the target to that thing. 50S. Oh, it's got some indicator resistance right now on AESC. So you're trying to get the 50 to come back. You're just around the 50 SMA. 200 SMA is up here towards 190. That's your resistance now. It's been kind of one of those, but I think we can see a bigger move on this thing. And I got a really good average, so I'm just going to be chilling on that. Unless it comes back down towards the average, then I could just stop out for break even or for a small loss. But yeah, I like that. I like the setup here. I think we can see a much bigger move. So we'll see. Meanwhile, as we speak, SPY pushing again right now onto some new highs into the end of the day. Again, jeez, man. I still think I would love. We'll see if we get it. I don't know if we're going to get it. It's hopeful, but 458 plus for a short, or I wouldn't even say a massive position. I mean, just for at least a hedge, at least to put on a hedge with more confidence on that side of things. So like right now we're getting close. If we got 30 minutes left, I doubt we're gonna get that bigger move up. But if we gap up tomorrow and we open up towards like 458, something like that, or even up 456 plus, and we get a little bit of a push into the open, I'll be looking to possibly grab, and I will probably play like, let's just look out and see the time frame. I'll go to like April 14th puts. I'm not gonna play anything like super short term. I guess I could. Maybe even like a little bit, maybe like April 8th, 11th, something like that. But like April 14th could be a good time frame to grab some puts. And as of right now, 458 puts are going for like $7-8. If we get a bigger push up, they'll come down a bit. Maybe you can play, or you can play something out of the money and go for like something like, let's say a 455 put, right? Which could be a little bit cheaper. You could play something like that. And that's kind of how I will be looking to play it. And any flush from there back down towards 450, I'll just take profits on that. That's the idea. So that's it. Tesla. Tesla had a night, must be looking pretty strong right now, right? With this, but with SPY pushing up. Wow, look at that, $1,100. We tapped 1,100 pretty much. What was the high? The high of the day was at 1,097.88. Jeez, just a really nice trender, honestly, all day. Touched view up a couple times, but it really trended nicely all day on Tesla. Jeez. So where are we looking at now? We got a nice gap, but looking up towards, we're getting up into some more stronger resistance now on Tesla though. So I'm not going to fight it, but also I'm not really interested in going long here on this thing. Tesla's a great stock though too. You can play with your shares. You don't even have to play options, and you can do just fine with shares. It moves enough. All right. Meanwhile, as we are literally just sitting here, right, AMC continues to push higher. Like, look at this. It's just extending up massively. This is starting to get to the point where like it would really interest me on the short side, as if it touches $30 for at least a take profit, or at least a nice little $1 to $2 pullback type of move at a minimum, if not maybe more. Tesla split news, yeah, that's what it did. I guess, right? They announced a split for a possible dividend and whatever, and they're gonna have that voted on in the next meeting, shareholder meeting. Yeah, that's what's going on. Let's just take a look at. I want to pull up. What do we got going on here? Oh yeah, I want to pull up FinViz and pull up what we got going on in terms of underlying. What's going on underneath the surface here? So FinViz, what do we got? Give us something good here. Okay, so even though the market's up, we're actually seeing more stocks down today, which I kind of can resonate with. That's just kind of the feel. More stocks down than up, despite the market being up. We have 141 stocks in new highs, roughly 300 new lows. We're back to over 51% of stocks above their 50 SMA and about 33% above their 200 SMA, which is pretty encouraging. A pretty encouraging sign. So yeah, that's pretty cool. What about the airlines? Let me look at jets. I mean, oil is down. Yeah, jets is coming back up. Airlines are coming back up. Oil was down, right? So these should be doing decent today. Not a super strong market, I guess. So maybe they're not like gonna kill it. But JetBlue barely even up. Save. What's Save up to? Save is up a little over 1%, and then a little bit of American Airlines. American Airlines is up 1.5%. Okay. What about UAL? United is up 1%, and then what about Delta? Delta is up a little 1%. So those are doing pretty good. I mean, I expected them to do better. They were looking nicer in pre-market with oil, but then they took a dump with the S&P. So, like I've been saying, the killer here is going to be Delta, or not Delta. I'm just saying airlines in general, right? Oil down, SPY up, and they can have really, really nice days. You have SPY up, oil up, they could have maybe a flat day or slightly green depending on how much the market's up or how much oil's up. Oil up, SPY down, they get killed. So that's just the correlation, especially with oil where it's at. Until oil comes back down under 100 kind of in a more substantial way, that's going to be, the correlation. When oil comes back under 100 and it kind of just starts to cool off, I mean, it's down a lot today, but if oil gets down under 100 and it cools off in a big way, let's just say, and it kind of like the news flow is less, it's less volatile. We're seeing less movement off the news flow. Tells me potentially we're seeing demand destruction, right? We're seeing less demand just because it's so high. But also, that's going to be very, very crucial for the airlines, as they've come out and said, some of the CEOs talked a couple weeks ago saying that they can make money at $100 a barrel. I think it was $100 a barrel. So they said that the industry can make money at $100 a barrel. So that's an encouraging sign. But ideally, I would want to see it under $100 a barrel, right? So to feel better about it. So I added one more. Mesa call just because it was like $40. So here's Mesa's look. I got what do I have? I have July's. I could play October's, but I like the July time frame better for the move, and that's it. I bought another call at $5, $5 call. So, obviously we need a much bigger move on this guy. We need a move to like 750 for me to make, a decent return on that trade. I guess honestly, realistically, we go to $6, I'm green. But that's still a long ways out. So we'll see how it plays out. Small cap airline play. I don't want to say it's unfound, but you're not going to get any attention on this guy until, in my view, airlines are really ripping. So airlines got to do really, really well for this thing to get some more volume. So we got about like $1,000 tied up there, and it's just kind of chilling on it. And if it works, it works. It could be a doubler, or it could be kind of a smaller gainer. We'll see. Or it could be, it could be a zero. I mean, we got to get over $5, and then we can at least salvage something out of it. But we'll see. $5 is the strike I got out to July. So we'll see how it plays out. Sector out the window, except weed. Yeah, if Tesla does that split, right? It's like a 5 or 6 for 1 or something like that. So, could be Tesla will be only like a couple $100, ideally, if the split goes through. So it makes it a little more manageable. Price wise, you see Elon Musk talking about how he wants to like either get ownership of Twitter or create a different platform than Twitter because of freedom of speech. That was kind of interesting. He had that poll he put out on his Twitter, and like 70% of people said, hey, they don't believe Twitter is, fair in terms of freedom of speech. I don't know. We won't get in. I agree. And it's like people should be, the censorship across a lot of social media these days is really just, it sucks to see, but, we'll see how it plays out. I don't know how much, if he'll even be allowed to do that, to be honest. IWM, look at that it's still red, but it was down more. Now it's coming back up 205. We're seeing that area is struggling. It is definitely struggling here. It's just teetering on that 205. And I kind of expect this, right? You kind of expect this. You're going to need, I don't know if it happens this week. I think if we get a nice push on SPY up to 458, IWM comes up here towards like 210, maybe gets close to 210, 208 or something like that. And then if we get a pullback on SPY, which is what I would like to see, IWM takes one more hit, maybe it pulls back down towards 200, and then from there, that could be your nice base for the next for the breakthrough of this zone that we've been really kind of dealing with the past couple weeks. So that's kind of what I'm not expecting anything too fast here, and we've been kind of seeing the pressure on these names. Despite the market kind of just floating higher the past couple of days, look at small caps. I mean, even though AMC is has the number one weight in IWM, even though AMC is up like 40% today, you see how it's not doing anything. It's not really pulling IWM up because there's so many other stocks that are involved. So that's the idea. We'll see how this ends up shaking up though. So, okay, here is IWM. We are looking at that. We got ELYS just pop back over 230. Interesting. Interestingly enough. Cool. That's good to see. GameStop is up 17, almost 18%. AMC, we're just looking at this thing. AMC is up here. What is it? What do we got here on AMC? 28.40 is where we hit up to. All right. Twitter private company, no freedom of speech. They can make their own guidelines. Great minds think alike. Amplify the market, everything on 3x leverage, every company, every index. Yeah. I think it's going to be, I mean, when it comes to like that, I think what's Dorsey's like, Jack Dorsey's like a huge Bitcoin bull, right? I would kind of like to see, nothing like, not that I want to see people, get screwed, but I would really like to see Bitcoin just get, go through a good, 1 to 2 year bear market. And I would love to see how things shape up across the NFT space, across Bitcoin, across the crypto space. I would love to see how all that shapes up. Seriously, I mean, that would just be like a pretty, interesting space if it just becomes a wasteland of just like no one's talking, no one cares, and it's just like death, emptiness, right? I don't know, but that's the time I'd be buying all that stuff. So whatever. Hate socials, even a boomer. Not even a boomer either. It's bad. I mean, the social media space these days is terrible on your mental health. I mean, realistically. But Any is pushing up again. Where's Any? Going for a new high of the day. Oh, we jumped off to the different layout. Any is at, look at that. Look at Any. 266 now, popped new high. Wow. We had a $3 is going to be your spot, I think, on Any. That's what I'd be looking at next, at least. All right. I bet when most people, when Bitcoin goes down. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's just like start locking away. I would love to see a time, and that's when I would really up some recurring deposits on that front on crypto and in general, and really just probably Bitcoin mostly. But like if we get Bitcoin sub 30K, let's look at Bitcoin, by the way. If we get Bitcoin sub, here it is. It's at 48 now, pop 48. If we get Bitcoin sub 30K again, or even sub 20K, dare we say? Well, sub 30K I think would be pretty demoralizing for a lot of people who are heavily leveraged there, right? But I mean, I'm not saying that Bitcoin is not going to go to 100, 500K, whatever the numbers and whatever people project in the long run, sure. But I'm saying that in the shorter term, if we see this thing kind of play out, this head and shoulders play out, and we get up to 60K again, I would be more inclined to go short, and I'd be looking to trim a lot of my crypto and then wait for us to kind of pull back down sub 50, sub 40, sub 30 to start buying back in. I'll probably buy a little bit on these levels. If we get back to 60K and fail, I'll probably start buying some around 40. And then if we fall further, buying some at 30. And then just under 30 is set like a bi-weekly or even a weekly recurring deposit for a super small amount. And then just have it at dollar cost average in and just forget about it for a while and let it do its thing. It's one of the things I do for like a emergency fund. Have one set up where I just like dollar cost. I mean, every month or every week, or I think it's every month, I have a fairly small just recurring deposit and just let it kind of compound in there. And it's like a high interest savings account, whatever. And, let it do its thing. And then eventually if I ever need it or want to pull the money out one day for whatever, then yeah, I have it. But if I don't, I'm not really too worried about it. It's the same idea I play with Bitcoin. But Bitcoin, on the other hand, there could actually, in a couple of years, I could turn around and go, wait a second, I got a lot of money here because I was buying the fear, buying the buying what everyone doesn't want to buy. Set up a grid on Bitcoin. Oh, I have a bot. I have a Bitcoin. I have a crypto bot. I should check on that one day. I got a bot set up. I think it was like, I forget what it was. What kind of bot it was. Or I think I tried I used a different one. I think I did two different things. But I have a bot running somewhere. I should probably check that account one day and see if I got how it's been doing. Because now with Bitcoin doing well, it should be okay. It should be doing pretty good, I guess. Is ELYS ever going to get the level? I mean, hey, I hope so. But hey, if we stay under this, if we get, well, today it's over 230. 2 consecutive closes under 230, and I'll be out. Unfortunately, it is what it is. My average is now 237. I bought a little bit more today just because the risk reward, it was really good. I was like, if we end up closing below, okay, fine for 2 days. Then, I bought some shares and I'll cut them off, pretty much around where they are. So I took a very small loss on those. And if it ends up holding, well, this is going to be the rock bottom right here if it holds. So that's going to be really good in terms of that spot. So we'll see. Social media are popular platforms, bias, and yeah, I mean that's just the reality. And you see a lot of people, especially when they grow, what it really comes down to, I think, is when you get to like a massive point on social media platforms, and you go to a massive point, then you have a lot more pressure, you have a lot more hate that you're dealing with, and all that stuff. So I guess it can really, it definitely plays on you. And then also when you're someone just like watching and just checking in on people or whatever, you're seeing the highlights and you're not seeing the reality at the end of the day. So 30K to 70K, set and forget, close bot. All right, what do we got here? SPY, new high. Yeah, got close, right? Yeah, 455 almost. We touched 455. AMC is going for $30. It's up 40%. Wow. That's a day right there. I mean, wow. 2840 is the high. We're looking to break that right now. We just hit it. Let's see if we can break it right now. 2840 going once, going twice. There it is. Pop right through. 2850, 2857 now. Man, up towards $30 is where we might even hit that today at this rate in the after hours. I can see it in the after hours. This has been pretty strong. It's been strong all day, so I can see a $30 touch in the after hours on AMC. DATS falling off a bit. Look at DATS. It was looking really, really good a couple minutes ago. Like half hour ago. We're extending up here towards a 320 area. Got rejected at this high. So here's your spot now. Here's your line in the sand. 325-ish or 320. Got rejected hard and fell off. Now this thing may die here a little bit. Silver getting some downside. Yeah, I was kind of. They've honestly been playing with oil. Look at that dump on GLD. There's GLD's chart daily. Well, I'll look at the 5-minute chart. There's GLD on the 5-minute, and then here's what's USO looking like on the 5-minute. Very similar. They're very similar. Oil and gold and silver. The oil and the metals. They're trading kind of in tandem. I want this. I want that separation, right? And we haven't seemingly been getting that, unfortunately. So that's what we got going on there. Got 15 minutes till the close. So we got, what else is going on here? Let's see. We find some other stuff. Jan, a little small cap popping off a little bit. Sales costs. I mean, nothing. DATS had like some NFT news. Like not like we had a great sector. There's no sector that popped really. DATS had that news. Bitcoin's getting there, but I mean, any has got some, movement with Bitcoin. So crypto is kind of pushing a little bit. Mara, let's see what Mara's looking like. Mara's up 8% today. Just kind of slowly kind of grinding. I would love Mara to get up into this 50 plus zone again. Would love that. One sec, guys. I gotta hop off here a second.